Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Hope that you will all join me today, this afternoon during our live stream at 2 p.m. Alaska time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, where we will be selecting randomly, of course, the winner of that Opus 1200, the baby brother of the 1800 that I reviewed earlier this week. So if you haven't checked out that video, go check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not talking about food prices 100% on this video, but I really wanted to use food prices as an example to warn you that inflation, in my opinion, now everything I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to like finances and the economy and stuff like that, that's just my opinion, okay? So please do your own research. And I'm not a professional at this. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking, all right? I'm thinking out loud, right? But I'm just sharing that with you. So as we see the price of foods continuously go up, we may not see the prices of other things go up as much. And I wanted to talk about that. And I wanted to talk about why now, if you are prepped up with food, why now is a good time to go out and get those other things that maybe you don't need to live. So for example, you need food to live. You need water to live. The water that I get to haul to my property here, it went up by 10% about a week ago or so. It went up by 10% overnight, which is fine. I'm okay with paying that because it is a service that I really need. So even if that water were to go up by 20% or 25%, even if that water were to go up by double, if I go there, it normally takes me about $6 to fill up a 200-gallon tank with water so that I can come here and put it in my cisterns. It went up to $7. So it went up roughly 10%, right? But if it would have gone up to $10 for me to fill up that 200-gallon tank, I'm still going to get it. I'm still going to pay for it because where else am I going to get it, right? And I know I can do rain collection and all that kind of stuff, but where else am I going to get it whenever I want it? Now, that's the only place that I can go get it. So I want to pay whatever it is they're asking for it. And thank goodness that the gentleman that runs that water shack, I've met him a few times. Very, very nice guy. Very nice guy. Very community oriented. And he's just out to provide a good service and be able to make a living. He's not a millionaire by any means. But anyways, I digress. So my point is that the things that we really need, like food, you know, especially in the basic form that we're going to bring home and cook because we can't afford to go to restaurants. Those things, they're going to continue to go up in price unabated. Okay? Supermarkets have a very, very small margin. Very small margin. So if one of the items that they're selling goes up in price by 10%, they can't just absorb that. So we're going to continue to see food items go up in price, especially things that we need. Electricity is going to continue to go up in price. Water utilities is going to continue to go up in price. Here's another one talking about how the supply chain is going to be going into a crunch again because I guess China is now lifting a lot of the restrictions. But here's another thing that people don't think about that we have to pay for. We don't have a choice. If you want to get lettuce from California to wherever else in the United States, you're going to have to pay that trucker with that reefer trailer. You're going to have to pay them. And depending on the price of fuel and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have to pay them whatever it is that they need in order to make a living because they're not going to go work for free. So those prices are going to go up at the supermarket as well. And being that it's food, things that we need to live, people are going to buy it. People are going to spend the money on it. They're going to spend less on something else, and they're going to spend that extra money that is going to cost them to buy that food on that. All right, so there's going to be a lot of other businesses failing. And I think that a lot of these other businesses that are going to fail are probably going to fail going into the fall, into the winter. And I'm going to tell you why here in a second. But I just wanted to show you that this food crisis, that this food inflation, it is not dwindling, right? It's not dwindling. It's actually progressively getting worse little by little. Another food supply chain issue, wheat prices surge. The price of wheat is surging as inflation and shortages force the cost of commodities even higher, Experts suggest that the price of wheat will increase by over 40% this year. And I just wanted to show you how much that really is, how it actually looks on a chart, because it's incredible. So right now, I left my lines on here from a video that we did a long time ago. I think it was during a live stream. But wheat had reached all the way up to $12.94. So what I'm thinking is this. When I first heard 40% for this year, that's not bad comparing to where we're at. But I don't think that's what they mean, because if you take 40% from the beginning of 2022, here's January of 2022, and you bring it up 40%, we're already way past that. We are already way past that. Let's see, 40% would have been all the way back at about 1,010 or $10.10. Okay, so we're already way past that. What I think they're talking about is that we're going to be going 40% from roughly where we are at now. And I just want to show you what that is. Oh my goodness. Let me do this again real quick. So 40% from where we are now. We are looking at wheat at almost $17. And that would be obviously a super all-time high. So things are not looking good as far as the price of foods and the things that we need to eat. Why? Because we have to pay it. We don't have a choice. Here's the last one that I'll share with you as far as this goes. It says, apocalyptic food shortages incoming. And I guess somebody from the Bank of England is calling out the food shortage that is coming. And I guess it's this Mr. Bailey, the governor of the Bank of England, said he has run out of horsemen. When counting the shocks facing the United Kingdom with runaway energy and food costs, he's warning of an apocalyptic food shortage, and soon. So here, ladies and gentlemen, the producer price index, that's what I really want to talk about. Take a look at this. 11% was the producer price index for April. For those of you that don't know what the PPI is, it's kind of like the CPI, the consumer price index. So the CPI is what our costs went up, is what the government measures as far as price inflation for us, the people, the consumers, right? The producer price index is the same thing, but for the producers. Now, the producer price index, which from now on I'll refer to as PPI. So the PPI goes up. It means that the producers are having to pay that much more in order to produce whatever it is that they're selling. So for example, the PPI for April would not really match the CPI for April, because the PPI is a lagging indicator. It means that if producers paid 11% more in April in order to manufacture their goods, it's not going to show up on the shelves until maybe May or June, because they already manufacture their goods, but it's not on the shelf yet. So that's why, if you may be asking yourself, well, why was the PPI in April 11%? When the CPI was only 8.3%, I believe that's what it came in at. That's why, because it's a lagging indicator of what things are to come. So we can see that inflation is going to continue to go up as the months, pass by, because we have a high PPI. All right. So I'm expecting inflation to come in for May, for this month, at higher than 8.3%, which is what it came in for April. We'll see what they do with their numbers. We all know that the numbers are pretty much manipulated, even as the way that they show them now. Even, the numbers aren't that great now, but they're still manipulated. It should be a lot higher than that, but I digress. So what I'm getting at here is that there's a lot of manufacturers right now that are probably absorbing the cost, the extra costs, in order so that they don't lose their consumer base. So if you want to go out there and buy something that you don't need, if it goes up in price, as quickly as food is going up in price, let's say, then you're not going to buy it. And they know that. So they are going to keep their prices down, even though they're barely breaking even or even going in the red, in order to maintain their customer base. But eventually they're not going to be able to do this anymore. So that's why I'm getting at, to get those things that you don't need to live, but that make your life better and you're going to need in the future now. A great example is this. I'm getting another set of winter tires for one of my trucks, because I noticed that the winter tires that I have on a set of rims now. I just had the tire exchange from, winter to summer tires. I noticed that those tires are starting to get cracks. So I'm like, you know what? Even though these tires still have a good amount of tread on them, what if one of them blows out? So I went to Costco and I said, hey, I want to go ahead and place an order for some tires, for winter tires for this vehicle. And the guy that I talked to is an awesome guy, by the way. A shout out to Emmett over at Costco Tire Center. So he says, why would you want to buy them now? And I'm like, well, I want to make sure that I have them just in case they're not available next year, or in case they go up in price a lot. He said, come back in a couple of weeks because they're going to have a sale. And I'm like, really? They're still having sales? And he's like, yeah, they're going to have a sale next week. What they do is they get rid of whatever extra they had from 2021, because the tires that they still have are 2021 tires, and then they want to replace that inventory with 2022. So these manufacturers, they understand that they don't want to lose their consumer base, so they're not going to pump up their prices as much as it's costing them, as the prices are being pumped up for them. So putting it short, their PPI is going up, but they're keeping their prices pretty stable because they don't want to scare you off. That is eventually going to stop, ladies and gentlemen. Eventually, consumers of things that we don't need to live, eventually they're going to have to pump up their prices. So get those things that you need now. Tires, extra car parts that you may need, extra wiper sets, right? Think about those kinds of things that you may need now, instead of waiting until, the fall or the winter, when I believe things are not going to have a choice but to go up in price, because oil is energy. Oil is products. Everything that you consume has oil in it in one way or another. Either it was needed to be produced or there's oil in it. So that's going to continue to go up. The price of fuel, the price of shipping is going to continue to go up. But these manufacturers that are able to absorb that price now, take advantage of that now, because it's not going to be long before they have no choice but to ramp up their prices. And we, ladies and gentlemen, are either going to pay it and get it, or these companies are going to go out of business. One of the industries that I think will go out of business first, or we'll see a mass exodus, is mortgages. So mortgage brokers, people that do mortgage loans, that's what they do for a living on commission. These guys are going to start losing their jobs quickly. Why? Because the cost of borrowing money is about twice as much today as it was about a year ago. We're at about 5.7% for a 30-year mortgage, where about a year ago it was 2.5, 3.0, if you have pretty decent credit. So I see those going to the wayside. I see manufacturers of, let's pick on freeze-dried foods. I'm still astounded that the price of freeze-dried foods have not gone up as high as I thought that they would. I thought that by this time, or really I thought that by about June or so, the middle of June, that freeze-dried food companies were just going to have to bring their prices up by at least a good 10, 20, 30%. Because the price of food in general is going up, and that's the main ingredient that they use in their product. So what I think they're doing is this, and I don't have any insider information. I know that I'm associated with or affiliated with Nutrient Survival, but I have no insider information. It's just me thinking out loud. I think that these companies are right now absorbing that price in order not to lose their customer base. But later on in the year, they're not going to have a choice but to have to increase their prices dramatically just so that they can stay in business. So what I'm saying is that if you want to have something now that you don't really necessarily need to live, I would get it now to make sure that I can get it, that it's available, and that it's a decent price still until later on this year, when I feel that everything is just going to skyrocket. Everything, not only food, not only fuel, but everything. I'm going to be doing another video here shortly about something that you really need to start taking a look at right now to get. But this one's already going on way too long. So thank you very much for joining in. We'll see you this afternoon. Have a great day, and God bless every one of you.